Hi, how and when to bring up salary during a job interview. Rule number one, and I repeat rule number one often, is as a candidate, you don't want to be the first one to bring this up. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you're comfortable enough to bring it up. And normally, salary doesn't come up during the first interview, especially if you have more than one interview to go to. Now, the perception is from the client or the interview is if you bring it up first, that is the most important or the only thing that is important to you. You've got to make sure that you showcase your accomplishments before talking money. It shouldn't be just about money. It should be about many different things. So don't get caught in that trap and bring it up too soon. Second thing is you've got to go in armed with information. If you're working with a recruiter, you likely know the salary range. But if you're not, you're flying blind. But there's nothing to say that you can't go in forearmed. So that means going to websites, going to government websites as well. Lots of public websites that talk about salary. What about trade associations, people that you know in the industry, and some university professors are equipped with that kind of information. So don't fly blind. The other thing is you need to make sure you're showcasing your talents. And that means being very specific about what you bring to the table. Have you saved X amount of money for your employer? Have you brought in Y amount of money with this amount of bottom line profit, a bottom line contribution? Make sure you know what your value is before you go into that interview. And if asked about what are your salary expectations, very delicate dance, but you might want to say, prior to answering this question, I need to know more about the job. You don't want to run into a trap where you're maybe setting yourself up for a job that is below you or too far above you, or you're asking for too much or too little. So try and deflect that question. I know sometimes you must answer the question, so go in with a range, but the only way you're going to have a reasonable range is if you've done your research. And now, keep in mind, some jobs you just have to walk away from. The client is asking for a laundry list and is not willing to pay for it. But it's okay. You have gained some interview and some salary negotiations experience. I hope these tips have helped. I'm Dawn Williams from Sirius Personnel. I can be reached on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Happy selling.